Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Wars Alliance. I am your host, Clay, and Katie is not going to be joining us today. She needed to take a good rest. Of course, we are getting closer and closer for her to pop out a baby so she can take all the rest she needs. This week, we do not have a ton of news. Actually, we have one large controversy, and then, of course, we have the Bad Batch episode. Um, the controversy that has been going around this week, not only in the Star Wars community, but in the gaming community, is the fact or is the situation around Star Wars Outlaws. This is nothing new to the whole gaming industry that is, and we've talked in in the masses about this. I know that I've gone on tangents on this podcast as well as in the past over uh with Geekverse. We've talked about this and how things are changing just overall, but the actually, you know what? I planned on doing this earlier and I completely forgot to bring it up. So I'm actually going to look it up. Star Wars Outlaws is the big controversy that is going on right now. And what is surrounding the game uh, is the fact that the pre-order bonuses and all of that other great stuff is oh wow, it's actually not on Steam. Would it be on the Microsoft store? I'm pretty sure it might be on there. Um let's see if we go to let's see, Star Wars Outlaws. Uh oh, you know what? Uh it would be the Xbox store. Let me actually see if I can find a good listing of all of the prices. So what is going on here, of course, uh, like I said before, uh, we have heard and seen uh, very, very frequently in the uh, gaming community this whole thing around season passes, battle passes, DLC, this whole thing, right? Uh, Here it says compare Star Wars Outlaws editions. This is a Reddit post, um, but I'm really here for the actual picture. Um, so the standard edition on both Xbox, PC, um, and PS5, PlayStation, is 69.99. The gold edition, so going straight from standard to gold, is $109.99. Now, the only difference here, so the standard game has the base game and then the Kessel Runner bonus pack. The gold edition has both of those, and then it has 3 days early access as well as the season pass. The ultimate edition goes from 109.99 all the way to 129.99. It has all of the above from the gold and standard edition, as well as the Rogue Infiltrator bundle, the Sabak Sharks bundle, as well as the digital art book. And then, of course, there is the 1 day Ultimate Plus edition for your subscription to, I believe, Ubisoft Plus or whatever I think it's, yeah, it's Ubisoft Plus. And this is $17 a month. And here you will get the early day, you will get everything from what the Ultimate Edition is for just 17.99 a month. And what they want you to do then is to continue being a subscriber even after you play the game, correct? Well, we did see here, actually, Katie brought this to my attention. Uh, it says here somebody by the name of Eric Elerson said, Xbox friends, this is a hack. Ubisoft Plus is a 17.99 month. If you subscribe, you get the ultimate edition on every game day one. Subscribe to the Subscribe the day Outlaws comes out, play the whole thing. It will not take a month. I can almost guarantee it. Then cancel. Resub for the DLC and then cancel again. He says later on in the thread, he says, I did this for 1 month and played Assassin's Creed Mirage, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, and Avatar, all for less than $20. This pricing is wild, but it's the only way around it. And I think that this is scummy. This is like the scum of the earth type of stuff. Um, for those of you who are not very informed in the gaming community, uh, the DLC, downloadable content, has evolved tremendously over the years. We went from, you know, every once in a while, one random game would have downloadable content. And so what you would either do is, upon pre-ordering a game at your local game store, that being GameStop or maybe even a Walmart or a Target or whatever, you would pay an additional anywhere from $5 to, I think, the most expensive DLC I ever saw back then, back in my day, was probably 29.99. I think that was the most outrageous one back in the day. Uh, so that would be the extent of it. You would pre-order the game and you'd, like I said, pay anywhere additional of $5 to $30, and that was it. And then you would get a code on your receipt to basically download the DLC, but it wouldn't become available until it was released, because usually DLC doesn't come out first day. You would have to wait like a month or whatever when they finally release it onto whatever platform you were playing. From there, we went to season passes. So companies then said, hey, instead of just, randomly coming out with the DLC packages and having people pay numerously throughout the month, let's just do a whole season pass, hike the price up from, instead of 5.99 to 29.99, we'll do 15.99 to 29.99. It was still quote unquote average pricing, but instead of having to go back and purchase, just the DLC itself, you would buy the season pass in the very beginning when they introduced it, and then as the DLC became available, you would just be able to download it. Now, of course, these days they do things like the battle pass, which a lot of people don't really like. The season passes, uh, or yeah, I guess the battle pass and the season pass have kind of molded together these days. If you're playing any games like Fall Guys, Call of Duty, Fortnite, things like that, that is the most common battle pass type scenario that is going on these days. Now here, this season pass, there was also a uh somebody who came out and said, "Hey, there's a lot of misinformation about this DLC. Let me go ahead and let you guys know. Um, the DLC, the Jabba the Hutt missions or whatever, uh, it's not like you cannot see Jabba the Hutt in the actual game. You're still able to interact with them and do all of that. It's just those missions specifically are not available until you purchase the season pass. So, and usually, a lot of DLC missions don't really push the needle for uh actual canon story events. So, it's not going to hinder you at all for what's going to be happening in the game. So if you don't want to buy the season pass, if you're not wanting to pay $109, guess what? You don't have to. I would genuinely say don't do it. Um, because this is the only way we're going to hurt the pockets and have these companies change their minds on how they do these games. We have to hurt them in the wallet. And so I am encouraging most people, if not all people, to not go for the season pass. Experience the game just the way it is. The story, that'll be it. And then we can all just move on from there. But yeah, it's become a huge controversy. Just at the beginning of this month, if not last month, I can't remember. I think it was the end of last month into the beginning of this month. There was a controversy over Dragon's Dogma 2 with like microtransactions and things like that. It's become a really big issue, this corporate greed in gaming, the monetization for gaming companies. It's become a really big problem, and it's harder to earn a living. So remember, guys, food on the table, rent is a lot more important than giving these guys who already make billions of dollars even more money. So I would say just get the standard edition, get the core game. Um, if anything, uh, eventually 3, 4 years down the line, DLC will be on like uh, a winter sale, and we'll be able to get it then. At least that's what I'm gonna do. But that is basically it for the controversy of Star Wars Outlaws. Now, I will say there was very minimal information on what I think was I don't think it was officially announced yet, but there looks to be an Inquisitor miniseries coming out soon. No date or anything, but it does look very, very cool. I'm looking forward to reading that once it hits Marvel Unlimited, of course. So, just some comic news there. But let's go ahead and jump right into The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch episode 13, Into the Breach. We are on our way to Tantus, as you saw on the YouTube thumbnail for those watching here on YouTube. Um, this episode does start off in Tantus, showing Omega getting introduced to the other prisoners. Let's just call them what they are, prisoners of the vault. Um, they kind of give her the lowdown, like, hey, we're so and so. We don't know how long we've been here, but they watch us, blah, blah, blah. And Omega, she, throughout the episode, we'll talk about her story first, just because we started here. And then we'll move on to the other players of the Bad Batch. Um, Omega does eventually, when she is getting checked up for her, like, I guess, daily sample for her blood, uh she gets the opportunity to take a tool from Car's tray, Dr. Car's tray, and she takes it, goes to the other children, and says, hey, I got a plan, I think I know what to do. Um as they are getting their samples, we see that there is a compartment that opens up in their cell, and that's where they transfer the samples. They don't take them by hand to go get tested. They put them in this little thing, and somehow we didn't really see the mechanism on how it is sent to the labs or anything else. We just know that there is a compartment that opens up, and Omega's like, huh, light bulb, I know what to do. She goes to the other prisoners, these children, and says, hey, I got a plan. What am I going to do? I am going to have a challenge, because these kids are like, hey, you shouldn't try this, because it's they're gonna notice that you're gone and all of this other stuff. It's gonna be bad. She's like, oh, I like a challenge. Essentially, her plan is to go. to like open up this compartment and see if there is a way out, just like she did when she escaped the first time. She went through the cages of, I believe it was Batcher's cage. She was able to go through, shut down the shields, and then get out like that. And so she's essentially going to try to do the exact same thing. Now, of course, this will still be inside the facility once she gets out, because I'm pretty sure those just go to the lab. It doesn't actually go to the outside like the cages did. So that's going to be very interesting. We do see her actually open the compartment up. Um, the cells that they are in are basically just they're like children's blocks that are like just like it's so silly the way that it just all falls apart when she does open it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how exactly they go about escaping. And she does kind of get them pumped up by telling them like, "Oh, like I've escaped before. We could definitely do this, and we're going to, help you guys escape too." And again, this is the weakness of Omega. And I genuinely, I keep saying this. I think it was like the first, second, no. What I think it was the second episode of this season, second or third episode. No. It was the third, because the first episode, the second episode, yeah, it was the third episode when they finally escaped and then were trying to find their way into like uh off planet or whatever. When they finally got to a separate planet, she wanted to like free all the creatures and all of this, and she ended up doing it, right? But I told Katie on that episode, her heart is her biggest weakness. And I think that's going like, I genuinely, because of the route that we see take place in the future of the Star Wars universe, Palpatine does get clones of himself. He has proper research to do it. Um, and you could say like, oh, they've gotten plenty of vials of Omega's blood that they can move forward with the research. So we don't know if Omega has a happy ending or not. I don't think she does. I don't think Omega has a happy ending because she is going to. I think she's going to sacrifice herself in hopes to save all these children. I think that's going to be super stupid. And I might actually get really pissed off if I'm right. But that's what I see so far. That's how I see Omega's story ending. I don't know how I feel about it, but we'll see how it goes. Um, but the Bad Batch story of this episode is, of course, they have Rampart. They're trying to find the coordinates to Tantus, of course. And this is very simple as well. Very, very quick episode. I do like this one a little bit more than the other slower episodes, because this does have a moment at the very end where like my heart was racing. I was like, "Oh crap, are they gonna make it? Is this gonna happen? Oh no, what if they get caught?" Blah blah blah. Like it did have like a very like almost jaw-dropping ending, which I am very, very grateful for anytime it happens. Uh but with them, Rampart, Vice Admiral or Rampart, told them like, "Hey, the only way that you can find coordinates to Tantus is the fact that whenever somebody is sent to go to Tantus, they have to first go to a station above Coruscant, be given the coordinates, and then fly from there to Tantus." And that's the only way it's done. You can't just take the coordinates from anywhere else. That is manually given to the ships that part from that station. So they go to that station undercover, and it ends up getting to a point where they find the ship that is actually going to Tantus. They have Echo jump aboard, and try to take down the sensors so that way they don't know that they're being followed by the Bad Batch. And Hunter's like, okay, once he takes the sensors down, we're gonna lock into that ship. They're gonna go into hyperspace. We're gonna go to Kansas, and it's gonna be peachy. And like it's nail biting because Echo still hasn't gotten it done, and like there's this beeping, like sound design and everything worked the way that it was supposed to this season. It was, or this episode, not just this season, but this episode, sound design was great. It made you feel very like I said, like I could barely like catch my breath. My heart was pumping. I was on my toes, like, oh my gosh, is this gonna happen? Are they gonna get caught? Is the ship gonna go into hyperspace before Hunter latches on? It was great. I really did like this episode. This is episode 13. We only have 2 more episodes left. That is it. And then after that, we are done for another, I think, 3 weeks after that. 3 weeks, we have nothing, and then we are on to the Acolyte. Now, I am really, really hoping. Well, actually, hold on. April, May. Oh, we do have. Shoot, what is it? Tales of the Empire. We have Tales of the Empire on May 4th. So immediately after, uh, is it? Hold on. Yeah. So one. Well, actually, oh my gosh, May 4th is a, hold on. Hold the freaking phone. May 4th is a Saturday. That's so dumb. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I thought May 4th was going to be a Wednesday. Okay, so we have 2 weeks of the Bad Batch, and then the very next week, the 8th, I will be covering Tales of the Empire. I think that will be a lot of fun. And then I think we have another 3 weeks after that, and then boom, the Acolyte is there. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. I am very much looking forward to it. Um, and I think this is going to be a very short episode. Um, like I said, the Bad Batch was not the greatest episode ever, but it was better than the other slow episodes that happened throughout this week. Um, Again, guys, for those of you who have not yet finished The Living Force or have finished The Living Force, our review is on our Star Wars Alliance feed, so go check that out today or this week or anytime once you are finished with the book. I had a lot of fun with that book, and me and Katie had a great conversation about the Living Force. The next book, of course, that we are looking to review is Temptations of the Force. We have not received anything yet, so we're crossing our fingers, hoping that we get something soon from um, our contacts, so that way we can hurry, read, and review that for you guys. I have some things planned and set up in the pipeline for when Katie is gone on her uh, motherly leave, parental leave, should I say. Um, for those of you who are wanting to get into the High Republic but don't know where to start, and for those of you who are into the High Republic but would like some insight on some of the big details of what we have really looked at in the High Republic, how it all makes sense to canon, and what it means for future books and stuff within the High Republic. That's going to be a really fun episode, and I should start planning that out right now, actually. So, guys, with that, I want to thank everyone who is here on the YouTube channel. And of course, if you are watching it even post this episode, thank you for watching. Thank you all for listening. And remember, may the force be with you.